Welcome to my channel, The Binge Eating Therapist. I'm Sarah, former binge eater turned psychotherapist. But today, I want to step out of the role of psychotherapist and just come to you as Sarah, former binge eater, because I'm going to share a little bit of my recovery journey, and I'm going to tell you a bit about my experience with CBT. And CBT stands for Cognitive Behavioural Therapy. And it's a type of talking therapy that involves looking at the connection between your thoughts, behaviours and feelings, recognising that they're all interlinked, and it's quite a structured form of therapy. So you often have a lot of homework which you go away and then you come back each week and you talk it through with your therapist. And here in the UK, in the NHS, if you go to the doctors with binge eating, it's quite likely the kind of therapy you will be offered will be CBT, either individually or in a group. So CBT was the first kind of professional help I had with binge eating, and I think I just found it online and I decided to go privately. So I met this woman, excuse me, I met this woman and she sent me away with food diaries to fill in. And it was only about maybe a month or two ago that I came across all my old CBT paperwork, including my old food diaries. Each food diary lasts for a week and there are 8 of them, so I'm going to assume that I must have done 8 weeks of CBT. So my first food diary that I did in CBT after my first session is dated from the 15th of May 2008. That's nearly 12 years ago, which just seems insane. And so I might share with you then what I ate on a typical binge day. So if you feel uncomfortable listening to this and hearing actual amounts of food, then you might want to skip the next 2 minutes. This will be the only time I talk about this specifically. So on Sunday the 18th of May 2008, I ate breakfast. I had a pear, 2 scrambled eggs, 1 wholemeal toast. For lunch, I had a roast dinner, a handful of mini Weetabix, an apple strudel and custard, and another handful of mini Weetabix. Then later on, I had a hot chocolate and marshmallows, a cinnamon whirl, a caramel chocolate bar, an apple strudel, a banana, and a sausage sandwich. And then a couple of hours after that, I had a Twizzler chocolate bar, a double-decker chocolate bar, 100 grams of honey cashews and peanuts, and a Kinder Bueno, which is another chocolate bar. And then 2 hours after that, I had a Bakewell slice, a hot chocolate, a chocolate muffin dessert, and prawn cocktail crisps. And so one of the things you do in the diary is you put the time, you put what you ate, you put where you were when you ate it, your hunger level, and your mood and state of mind. So looking back on it is really interesting seeing how my mood changed throughout the day. So it started off like neutral mood and ambivalent, to detached and empty, then stressed, miserable and edgy, then panicky, frantic, depressed, defeated, disgusted, and guilty. And for tomorrow's expectations, I put, tomorrow I'm working in the office all day, I have prepared healthy food and plan to leave all my money at home so I can't buy anything. That was how much I had lost all trust in myself. And so when you go into CBT, quite a bit of it is psychoeducational. So we started off with, this is some of the information that was given to me. They make a big thing about balancing blood sugar. So you have all the information there. So they talk about choosing foods that have a low GI. So I have a list of different foods GIs to choose from, a list of snacks, and the idea being that you plan your food, you have 3 meals a day, and 2 or 3 snacks a day. And so I had to plan out my food, and I stuck to what I had to do there, but I was still binging on top of it. And so some of the advice that they give, it cracks me up a little bit because some of it just, you'll see, I'll try and let you make up your own mind, but I think my reaction will probably give away what I make of some of this advice. So one of the bits of advice that I'm given on this information sheet is to schedule more meals with other people, particularly those around whom you are likely to eat appropriately. I don't know what it is about the language of that, but this idea that I can't eat appropriately, it just jars a bit. And you can't be trusted on your own. Don't think you can be trusted on your own. Buy fruits and vegetables that are ready to eat instead of junk food. I'll leave that one with you. Rather than eliminating a particular food or type of food from your diet entirely, consider controlling the portion sizes as an alternative. For example, buy a smaller bag of pretzels or a small ice cream cone. That way you'll be less likely to set yourself up for a binge. So what they're saying is just moderate yourself, just eat less. That's the answer. I mean, if I was able to do that, I wouldn't have been struggling with this in the first place. And I think for me, buying a smaller portion of something isn't going to make a difference. I'm still going to want more afterwards. And if I'm in that binge mindset, it's not going to stop anything. This one, honestly. Place a mirror in the room where you normally binge. Look in the mirror as you're binging. This should help you stop. It is important to have snacks in between meals. This will also prevent you from becoming too hungry and binging. I didn't really find that the snacks helped with me not to binge, and I'm certainly not against snacking. If you want a snack, if you feel hungry or if you just want a snack, then great, have snacks. But for me, having 3 meals a day and 3 snacks a day was having to deal with food 6 times a day. So it just meant I was always thinking about food, always thinking about when the next thing was. So I find that this is not advice to anyone else because it's figuring out what's best for you, but I just find that I prefer to have longer gaps between when I eat, because then I feel a bit hungry and then I can feel satisfied when I eat, whereas I'm kind of just eating for the sake of it, and when I don't feel satisfied when I eat, that feel really uncomfortable because it can feel a bit close to binging. This one makes me laugh. I don't know why. If you feel a binge coming on, put something sour in your mouth, such as a slice of lemon or lime or a pickle. This helps eliminate your cravings for sweets. I'm sorry, just the idea of like being in that pre-binge state and shoving a pickle in your mouth and thinking, oh yeah, that'll fix it, just cracks me up. Sorry. That one just tickles me every time. So then, I don't remember that much about the actual CBT sessions that I had. What I do remember really, really starkly, the one thing that I was left with was, so for me, if I jumped to the last diary, nothing changed. I was still binging. I was still having days like the one that I read out to you. And I can remember that around week 6, my therapist said to me, I want you to really try this week. And that really got me. I can remember feeling that, like that flush of shame in like my face, where I just in that moment felt completely hopeless. I just thought, yeah, there's something so wrong with me that I can't even do this. And for a long time, I think that had a really profound effect on me, and really made the next few years kind of particularly hard. It was a long time before I could find any self-compassion about the fact that I did this. And you know, as therapists, we have to be really careful with our words. And I looked her up actually to see if she was still working, and she's not online or anything like that, so I don't think she's working as a therapist anymore. But that really had a pretty negative impact on me. And I believed her. I just believed that I wasn't trying hard enough, but I really was. I look back on it now and I was doing everything I could, but it was like the harder I tried, like being stuck in a web or in one of those Chinese finger torture devices, the more you struggle, like the more trapped and more deeply kind of you become in it. And it's a mistake I see lots of people making, thinking that the answer to this is just to try harder, and that there's just something wrong with you, you must be weak-willed, undisciplined, And I think we go there because it's not a rational problem. And this is where I feel like CBT has some limitations, is that it takes quite a rational approach to it. So I've worked with people who have gone through CBT groups. But actually, I think I need to preface it with saying that the kind of people who are going to come to me are going to be the people who it hasn't worked for, if that makes sense. So there might be people out there for whom CBT has been really, really useful. And actually, I think some of the psychoeducational stuff is important, but I think a lot of it is quite, for me, quite patronising. And a lot of my clients, they know this stuff. You know, some of the nutrition things, nutrition therapy, I think can be quite shaming when you're stuck in the cycle of binging. So yeah, my overall experience of CBT wasn't the best. But I have met some brilliant therapists out there, and also brilliant CBT therapists, I should say. And also this was 12 years ago. And I know that CBT certainly is moving and developing all the time, and they've now got something called CBTE, and the E I think stands for emotional, so it really looks a lot more about what's going on in the feeling state as well. So that's a little snippet from my story. So if you've had CBT and it helped you or it didn't help you, you know, let me know, because I'd really like to expand my thinking on this about, you know, how I think about it for binge eating and how helpful it may or may not be. But on that, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next video.